All right, we're live.
Yep, we're back.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here at WeWork today.
Nice.
Yeah,
Looks good.
I know. It almost looks like a fake background, right? Like all those people work for me or something. All right. Well, let's kick it off. So, hey, welcome to the Gregory and Paul Show. I'm Gregory.
I'm Paul.
And we break down the latest in startup, SaaS, AI, whatever the internet is debating this week. And of course,
It's true.
well, we have lots of smart takes. We like to think we do, but we also have plenty of dumb takes. In fact, I think the dumb takes are the ones that are popular on YouTube. And we love memes way too much. We've even got some meme history to talk about today. Paul, where'd you go? You're I don't.
Technical.
What's happening?
difficulty.
Are you okay? Are you okay over there? All right.
I think I'm okay. Give me a second.
No problem. It's a live show. That's what's fun about this. I like that we do it completely raw, and we don't edit anything out. It looks like Paul's really gone. All right. Well, I will just keep.
Yeah.
I'll just keep talking. Hopefully, Paul will be back. We'll be back soon. But there's a lot of AI news to talk about this week. We'll also have a couple things regarding Apple. Maybe I'll even talk about some of those things with Apple. There's a lot of rumors that Tim Cook may be leaving Apple, or who I like to call
I remember
Tim Apple. I don't know if people remember that excellent troll that Tim Cook played on X, but there was a point where I think Trump called him Tim Apple during a meeting, and he even changed his name on Twitter to Tim Apple. I'm just catching up on the Tim Apple stuff because I think this is hilarious. But what I was explaining the Trump piece, but I remember there like being a long discussion on Twitter about all the CEOs having names like Mark Facebook and Oracle, Larry Oracle, that type of thing. But the Tim Apple one is the one that really stuck, and I thought this was hilarious. But the real news is that Tim Apple may be leaving Apple. Have you heard about this, Paul? Oh, Paul, I don't hear you either. You all right over there?
Just technical difficulties all everywhere.
There you go.
There we
you
go.
go. Do they have the internet? Okay, good. You all good? All right.
I did hear about this.
Is
it real news? Is it real news at all?
So yeah, I found I mean, depends on what you define as news. You know,
Right.
I did where is it? I did find this other. It's actually the Reddit thread, which is in my world real news.
Okay, great.
Where they talked about
Glad to hear it. That's good to
Tim
know.
Apple leaving.
Let me know if
Yeah.
there's anything
Apple.
you might help with.
You know, there's some interesting comments on here.
And the front runner is John Turnus. He's the head of or VP of hardware engineering.
The front runner is John Appleseed,
So we're working on
the brother of Jane Appleseed.
Wanted to know if I could connect you with.
If you ever notice, like on an iPhone commercial, when it has like who's calling the name, it's always John Appleseed.
John Appleseed. Yeah, that's
or
right.
Jane App. Yeah, I think they're gonna take over as CEO of Apple. John Appleseed. No, there is an internal candidate, but for me, it's really clear that Tim Cook's run at Apple has probably come to an end.
Right.
He's done a great job with like operationalizing stuff and squeezing every last dollar he can out of all of Steve Jobs' inventions, which is what everyone predicted, including myself, when he took over. That is exactly what's happened. You could be cynical and say he ran out a lot of creative people from the company.
Sure.
I don't really.
They've been pretty easy
I think
to work with so
it's a
far.
little harsh, but maybe it's true. And they need to get that energy back. And so I think a new CEO would make sense. at
What
Apple.
what do you think his legacy at Apple is, Tim Cook?
Yeah,
I mean, he presided over them becoming like largest company in the world, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I know you
Right, like he made a lot of money,
That's for sure.
and he did a good job at like maybe solidifying Apple's like market position as the undisputed champion of smartphones.
That's very true.
I would write that on his epitaph. Like that's pretty impressive. Like even when Steve Jobs was around, it wasn't clear that they were just going to own the market. Like they seemed like they were going to, but no doubt, like under Tim Cook, the iPhone just dominated.
Just completely beating out essentially every other competitor across Microsoft. They were a contender. Android.
Super impressive.
And he's a supply chain. I think he did a really good job with supply chain, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you can ship billions of phones. So many things could go wrong.
I mean, manufacturing phones at that scale, it's really hard. All the supply chain issues, distribution, like software, technology, shipment, like it's really complicated, and to make it all work is really hard. But
very impressive.
They're behind in AI for sure, and they need an AI initiative. And I also think, like, let's say criticism of Tim Cook that they weren't able to execute on any like kind of really new or innovative products.
Yeah, okay. So this is really interesting because this comes up again and again on the show. I don't think they're behind at all. I'm more and more starting to believe that they're not behind at
Same
all
one.
on AI. So if you look at like iPhone or any Apple product, really what Apple is really good at doing is catching the wave when mass adoption just starts to happen. So like if you look at iPhone, MP3 players, the hardware devices that they came out, that's the most successful. Even AirPods. I think they caught the perfect moment when all three of those products starts to go mainstream.
Fair. So this has been an interesting perspective with Apple that many people claim this, right? They weren't the first MP3 player.
Yeah, not the
they
first
weren't the first streaming
smartphone.
music service. They weren't the first smartphone. I think that's all fair. Do they look like they're behind? Well, I mean, they burned like who knows how much on that Apple smart car thing. It just never went anywhere. That they tried to build the Apple Vision Pro under Tim Cook. I mean, it's a disaster, that product. Like as visionary and fun, I was like, I tried it. It was really cool. It's still a complete disaster. Like it's not a good look for Apple.
Yeah, but neither of those products.
They tried.
Sure. Yeah, they tried, but neither of those products have a definitive winner or achieved mass adoption.
They're still early in their life cycle, or they're not even real markets at this point.
There's not even real markets, right? Like self-driving cars, it's such a niche like San Francisco thing that nobody outside of San Francisco even thinks about this.
Dude, Waymo is I think a fairly established product at this point. I think the Vision Pro smart glasses is a laboratory project that's trying to find
exactly. Yeah.
Trying to find a consumer audience that thinks it's interesting. The self-driving car is a product in market today with a lot of people using it. There's hundreds of thousands of Waymo's trips happening all the time.
But it's Waymo, not like it's not making a dent in like people's decision making when they come to like buying cars in the cities or the suburbs, right? Like people are not consciously making the decision, hey, should I just like get a Waymo subscription or buy like my first car or second car?
I agree. But so let's say I agree, which I don't necessarily agree. But like obviously internally they don't have the product pipeline that they need. Like let's say they typically are like late contender to a market that's to some degree established. They don't have the products. They don't have the AI research team. They don't have what they need to succeed. Siri is a disaster. That is the worst product ever. Like it does not work. I'm endlessly frustrated Like I just don't use it. I don't bother. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, let me try it. It still doesn't work. It's an embarrassment to have Siri at this point, given
Correct.
where other products are. So they
Yeah.
should be on that, and they have no answer for that at all.
Yeah. So okay. So like, right. So the dichotomy here is the hardware piece. So like building the self-driving cars, or just the software, the AI piece, right? I so coming back to what I'm trying to say here is, even with AI adoption, most people, if you go on Reddit, right, most people still think AI is a gimmick. So like
Uh,
they have time. I think there's still like 2, 3, maybe even 5 years before people like you can't find a single person on the internet that says like AI is still irrelevant tech.
okay, dude, this is totally fair argument. In fact, it's a great transition because I think we've talked enough about Tim Apple
Yeah.
and Apple, and we should talk about the leader in the AI space right now, OpenAI.
Yeah, correct. So these companies, every single week, they're releasing something new. Every single week, the leader seems to change and shift. OpenAI this week had its essentially a demo day or a dev day, as they call it, where they launched, I don't know, like dozens of products.
A
One
ton
of
of stuff.
the tons and tons of products improvements. One of the most exciting is this app marketplace where now apps like Figma, like Expedia, even Spotify, bookings.com, all of these great companies are directly integrated into ChatGPT. You can query them without going off a platform, opening up a new browser's page, and just completely like um, use ChatGPT as an interface to communicate with third-party applications. I think this is huge. It's still early. Yes, like if you play around with this feature or try to build for it, it's very alpha, I would say, experience. But the trend, I think, is here, right? Like I've been saying, if I can just stop using web browser and just using this chat interface, I'm ready for that.
Dude, you're crazy. I'm playing the demo right there, like because I got all excited when I heard about this. I'm like, apps
Yeah,
inside OpenAI. It sounds really cool. App
yeah,
program. And so I did some demos. I even want to share a few demos and stuff, things I did with it. But dude, this is lame. This is not the future of
no,
computer human user interfaces. Like, we don't want to go back to command lines where I have to remember what apps are integrated. I have
yeah,
to remember all of the prompts to use them. Like, I was watching this demo and I'm like, they really think regular people are going to go in and connect their Spotify account, and then they're gonna know and remember, like, connect Spotify and do this for me. They're not just going to click on a button and it just does what you want to do. I feel like this command line interface stuff that everyone thinks is so exciting is absolutely not the way that normal people want to use the internet. Like, I
right,
was even listening to a podcast early this morning and Sam Altman was talking about, like, I completely disagree with this vision that the chat interface is the be all end all of how
right.
people want to work with a computer.
Okay, so my counter argument is, so this is coming from like my unique perspective of like a
Okay.
SaaS builder that's been building SaaS for the past 15 years and trying to introduce a new SaaS product to like the consumer. Let's say like it could be like a head of marketing at a startup. The amount of fear that normal people have of a new SaaS product is like, I don't think most people understand just how technically avoidant people are. Like I think like technical people like us, we take these things for granted, right? Like we test new products every single day. We know how to click on a button, we know what to do. But most people, this is a learned experience. They don't want to use a new app.
Dude, command line interfaces is not the solution. Like, I agree with
Fine,
all that.
fine. Like command line interface is not the right solution, but like somewhere you can just drop into a chat application and then you can start interfacing with like third party tools I think that's a much better experience
All right, so
than
here
just
let's see if I can
giving
bring. So
feedback.
okay, so I can bring it up. So here is my. So okay, this is an excellent time for me to do my little demo time.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
I got all excited. So I read this news and I'm like, I think this is really cool. How do I make a playlist with AI? Because I actually been making them with AI anyway. Like I'll go into Claude or ChatGPT. I'm like, help me come up with a playlist and recommend songs, and then it would recommend songs, and then I would copy and paste that stuff into Spotify to like build a playlist. And Spotify has some AI that'll make recommendations. Like it's been fun.
Yeah.
And so I thought like, oh, there's a way to do playlists. So I connected Spotify, which was not easy to do. Like to go in there and to get it connected was very confusing.
Yeah.
And so I got it to work. And so now like I know Spotify is connected, and like it is cool. Like I can tell it like and I was making Halloween playlist. So make a Halloween playlist for me. And then it connects to Spotify.
Okay, this is cool though. No,
And it makes a little Halloween mix. So yeah, it's kind of fun to play with. I don't know if like The Weeknd is what I would put into
That's Halloween,
my
right?
Halloween playlist, right? So let's do this. So make it a playlist of horror movie soundtracks, right? Pretty cool. There you go, right? I mean, so this part is compelling, and
this is cool, right?
It's kind of cool, but I just don't know if like this nerdy like command line interface, the way that I'm like interacting with this is like how like regular people want to use it.
Line though. How would you call this command line? You're literally prompting a third-party API to do all of this for you.
Because I'm typing in a bunch of words, like it's a lot of work rather than just like create playlist like a button.
Okay, so
I think people want.
So like
it's laborious, right? Like I have to be very specific. Like type in, create a movie, and like if I don't like this playlist, I'd have to edit. I have to keep to. So let's say I don't like these movies.
Can you switch your behavior to like using the microphone? Have you ever used that?
Oh, great point. So yeah, you can do that, but I find that to be a little bit awkward, and maybe I'm just not comfortable with it. Like that's a good point, but there's still a point where I get tired, and I still think that clicking on buttons and manipulating a user interface that's graphical is better. And I think Steve Jobs would agree with me. I don't think Steve Jobs would look at this and go, oh yeah, this is the future. Like you have to type in a bunch of words to prompt AI to do things. I just am not convinced that he would think this is the be all and all. And like, I think these things make good demos, but when you get into executing certain elements, it gets really hard. So usually what I do, and this is what I was doing this morning, and I want to show this where it starts to break down, is like, let's say I even like this playlist. Okay. So make me artwork for the playlist. So you can upload the artwork for the playlist. So I always make a little cool artwork. And so it's working on that. And it usually does a good job at this part. Oh, network connection. Great. That's why I like doing a live demo is cool. I like sharing the real world experience of using these things. So that does happen too.
Yeah, Murphy's Law. Right.
Yeah. So it can create it. So what should I do? Should I reboot it?
Yeah, pause it or refresh it.
Is it going? Oh my God, this is fun. This is great. Okay, let's do that.
What did it like interpret it as? What does I think if you hit the edit button on the command and then reset it. And edit.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, and then just resend it.
There we go. Okay. This is great. I like showing like the real experience, right? Because I feel like people, you look at this and you go, oh yeah, it's so amazing. And then you start to use it. And if you really want to use it and do stuff, it has all its like own quirks and issues. Oh, cool. So it's creating the artwork now. So it usually is good at doing this, but then I want to like resize the artwork and put it into my newsletter. And like, it cannot do it. I spent all morning with it.
Right.
it doesn't get it. It doesn't get it right. What happen is I'll do like about 5 or 6 prompts, and they take a long time for the image generation piece to happen. And eventually I have to say, like, give me all those components, like give me the type on a transparent PNG background, give me the background as a separate element. And then I just am able to assemble it all in Canva. Right. So when you start into the details of it, it can't do everything well. And the only way you could do what I just described, like edit all together, is you still have to have a fairly high degree of skill with graphic design tools in order to assemble it and get it to be correct. So, I mean, it's like we've made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of issues in like the refinement.
Okay.
Any of that is an awesome graphic though, dude.
Okay, I agree with everything that you said.
Wait, should I use this Jason one? This is pretty good.
Yeah, this is awesome.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, Jason.
Okay, let me do it like I said. Okay, so resize this as 1600 by 450. Let's see if it'll do it.
So okay.
All right, what are you gonna say? Go ahead. While it's running,
this is my hypothesis. This is probably not going to work because, for whatever the reason, LLMs are terrible with numbers.
I've never gotten it to work. It doesn't work correctly at all.
Right.
It doesn't work correctly at all, and like it makes all kinds of weird mistakes.
Right. But of course, just despite us, it'll probably work.
That would be cool if it did it correctly.
Right.
That would be really exciting. And then the other thing I want to point out, like this whole feature set, it only works if you have the paid version of ChatGPT and the paid version of Spotify.
Of course.
So what's the point of like spending all of that money to create a playlist with AI when like Spotify already has like thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of playlists, and it has a bunch of tools that like almost do this like with AI anyway. So I was like, that was the other thing I wanted to mention was like these things are kind of like fun integrations and they're like interesting, but they're not all very useful.
Practical. Right.
Yeah, which is cool. We're at that phase right, and see it just kind of like squashed it and stuff. And gave me an error. All right, let's start. Enough of that.
Yeah, that's a really good point about all of this. I think people are learning. So in the development community, we're constantly trying different things, right? Like for example, you actually introduced me to this concept of spec-driven development.
Mm-hmm.
I am now like diving really, really deep into spec-driven development. In the past, like I have heard of this, I didn't pay attention to it. Coming back to it, since I would say like maybe I first heard about this in March or April. In the last like 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months, this has built into like a proper ecosystem of how developers use these templates to create full-fledged applications. And like, so
cool.
Okay, maybe like backtrack a little bit. What the difference between this and versus like normal prompt engineering, right?
Okay.
The core difference is that developers today still believe that code is the single source of truth. As in, we always, if we're arguing about like a feature, or if we're arguing about what needs to be done or what has been done, we always go to the code. So like reading comprehension and code quality, cleanliness of code, the formatting of the code is super important because it has to be read by hundreds, if not thousands, of developers across the organization.
Yeah, and it should be commented correctly through it. Yeah,
commented correctly, clean. It follows a standard, right? Every single organization has it's like a cult of coding standards.
Yep.
With spec-driven development, and I think this is actually the correct way of tackling AI-driven development, is that code is no longer a source of truth. Code is exactly, even high-level code is the same as like machine assembly code. Nobody reads it. Nobody needs to read it. It's literally just there to communicate with the machine.
Mm-hmm.
What people should consume are specs. So like back like when software development first started, maybe like, I don't know, the 80s, 70s, and 80s, waterfall, writing PRDs were predominantly the most popular way of writing software, right? You would sit down as
Correct.
a group, write like a 10-page document on what needs to be done, what are the trade-offs, what's your implementation detail, and then you would literally sit down and follow all of the specs and designs, and you would
Right.
implement it, regardless if it introduces code bugs or not. This was what needs to be done. And then like as like us moving to startups, we started doing all of these fancy new things like agile, right? Sprints. We
Correct.
threw out the PRDs and the waterfalls, and we moved into, move fast and break things. And that meant we created tickets. These tickets are bite sized. We scrutinized a lot of the pull requests. We scrutinized like very bite sized chunks, make sure they're correct. So we wrote like small tests to test these features, but we kind of like left the directional and the bigger stuff to, let's say, a few senior developers and not like the whole team. Okay.
Yeah, and that approach also has challenges
Of
and
course.
issues that
Yeah.
I guess the problems that it solved in the waterfall approach, it introduced new problems.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
It introduces lots of new problems, right? For example, with waterfall, it's highly predictable. I think everybody before it started, we have allocated this amount of resource, and mostly it's like within a correct error margin, right? Because a lot of people contributed to the prediction of how long this project is going to take and how much resource we need to allocate.
Correct.
With
The estimate,
agile,
yeah,
the estimation is just completely pseudoscience, right? Like
Yes.
completely pseudoscience. We say, oh, we're going to get like this much work done this week or this sprint. It takes 4 times as long.
yeah.
Happens all the time. Predictability went out the window.
I also think that, in my opinion, agile changed the way this would be interesting. From the marketing side, it changed the marketing. So in
Correct.
waterfall, you had like a final kind of big bang release, which has a lot of problems. I'm not saying it's my favorite way to do it, but then I had a very clear idea of like when it was going to be delivered, hopefully, and like what we were marketing. With agile, I got to this point where like I felt like some of these products are just changing all the time, like willy nilly. Like
Yeah.
like one menu would be there, it would disappear, a button would appear, a button would go away, to the point where like users are totally confused. And it was even like people were making fun of Google for this, right? Because they would like introduce a feature, take a feature away, introduce a product, take a product away, integrate products, then the product's gone. Like you can't, like your head would spin trying to use
Yep. Exactly. Totally.
set of Google tools. Yeah, which is and that was one of the like supposed benefits of agile.
Exactly. Yeah, you're constantly like switching attention. There's always a moving target, right? Like probably in software, the only industry that kept at it was like the gaming industry. Gaming industry predominantly still worked on waterfall, right? Like they
Yeah,
have
except to deliver a game at the very end. That makes sense. Yeah.
So okay, so like how what is spec-driven development? It's spec-driven development is our shifting kind of back to the waterfall approach. I don't want to use waterfall, but it kind of is. We're now allowing the AI to do a lot of pre-planning and ask questions for the first time, ask you to like clarify what exactly you're trying to do. So like this is what I'm showing here is like GitHub Spec Kit, which is like this framework that they've created. So it's a command line tool for a developer to like spin up a new feature or project, and it plugs into Claude, Cursor, all of these things. Cursor itself has released planning mode recently, maybe a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I
3 days ago.
was at an event where they talked about this, but go on.
Yeah, so they're basically the same concept with different namings. All of these AI tools have realized that people are still trying to one-shot a lot of the features, but one-shotting is no longer the proper thing to do. The best AI performs the best when it's engaging, when you can give it a plan, when it comes up with a plan, and when it can ask you for clarification questions. And so what this means, sorry to cut you off, just last
go ahead, you finish up, go ahead.
Basically what this means is now, instead of reading code, you should be reading these specs the planning docs, right? So when developers communicate, we should be communicating about plans. The plans are what has been done, which are like the specs, and what the future implementation will look like, which are like, let's say, planning specs. And then the extension of that is if you introduce like the design team, you could have a design doc that also incorporates into all of this. So we're moving even more up level of abstraction into like now we can design large scale software using human language.
Yeah,
And I think that's the final form.
no, what I
Right.
want to say was like because like for people who are maybe are not as technical as both of us, let me try to summarize it.
Yeah, please
Like
do.
I think your initial like analogy or comparison to this won't be the simplest one, but like machine code, binary. So like let's like people don't understand computers work. There's like lower level languages that are happening on the hardware. They
Yeah.
translate all the stuff that's happening in the interface into some other kind of code that only the machines understand, and that we don't really spend a lot of time like in assembly or these other languages that exist like at the core inner workings of the hardware. And there was a time when people like coded at that level.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't really
true.
happen anymore. So I think your idea that like we're headed into a world where vibe coding means that like what we would call coding, so writing all these commands in a popular coding language, can get abstracted one level above, and that
Correct.
in the future coding isn't going to be so much about coding at that level, which we have an example of, which was when people did actually code in assembly or these other like low level hardware level languages. We don't do that anymore. We code at some other level where there's like basically an interpretation of what happens, and then the machine executes it. And
Correct.
I love what you're saying, and I stumbled on this like SDD spec driven design stuff with some people I was working with. And I agree that like it seems actually very clear that the future is specs. So that'll be the
Yeah.
level of like of coding, of development, of like design will happen at the spec level, and then we will just create the prompts, and then the prompts will create the code, and eventually there won't be any need to adjust the code in exactly the way we work with computers today when they're running applications that we've created that are a level above assembly or whatever the
Yeah,
machine
correct.
happens to run on. Yeah.
Correct. And it's like I it's kind of like interesting because I yes, like AI has been moving really fast, but the adoption of AI has kind of lagged. But this is kind of my first time that I'm seeing the adoption may have actually moved a little bit ahead of the capabilities of AI. Right? Like we're molding AI now to our specific use cases. Yes, AI is super smart, but we're also kind of like putting bounding boxes around it so that
Yeah.
it can do what we wanted it to do much better.
I think the simplest way I think to maybe summarize all this is like spec driven design looks to be like a solution about how to get vibe coding to work at scale.
Exactly. That's
I
a
think that no one
correct.
has quite solved it. There's like everyone's vibe coding, everyone's excited about it. I'm making vibe coded games in 5 minutes. It's really cool. But how do you make that scalable? And like the old school engineers are like, this stuff sucks. It's hard to debug. It doesn't work with my
Exactly.
existing frame, blah, 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 right? So now you're like, okay, well, now we've got this new way where we all like agree and design and write specs. And then the specs are the what's used to create prompts, and the prompts are used what to create code. And so if you
Exactly.
understand that, now we have a methodology and a framework that I'm pretty confident too will get adopted broadly. And that's how software development will happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you can, so I know this is super nerdy, but the so GitHub is like the central repository for all developers to commit code, right? Like they're their own company. Microsoft owns them. The fact that they launched this, they're really good at dog fooding their own products, right? So I have
Mm.
no doubt
Yeah,
internally
yeah,
they're using this. And then the fact is that they're updating this constantly. Like this code base was updated an hour ago, 36 minutes ago. So
cool.
like basically the rapid iteration of this open source project with the community's help, like pull requests, issues, number of forks, just the amount of attention goes to it. When this thing reaches stable or stability, you will know if like AI driven development works or not.
Hmm.
Because this is literally like the entire dev community saying, okay, I think we have something. Let's iterate towards it. Let's go as far as we can and see if this like makes everything better. This is super cool. I think we'll figure it out.
I know. I think it's exciting too. All right. Let's move on. I have something that I want to share that we were talking about earlier before we jumped on, which was
Sweet.
this. So
What
this
are
is
we looking at?
these are our YouTube analytics, and I love the point that this chart makes.
Yeah.
And I just tweeted this, and I said everything seems like it's a waste of time until it's not. And so you and I,
Yeah,
we've been
very
doing this
true.
thing for a while, and we do it because we love it. It's fun for you and I to come together and chat about nerdy stuff. And we started as an X base, right? We've done this for a while. And we started like finally uploading them to YouTube, and we knew no one was watching them. We could see they had like 3 views, 7 views, 20 views, 30 views. And we just kept going. And we got up to episode 17.
Yeah.
So that's a lot, like 17 weeks of this, with like just no traction, no feedback. Then maybe we got a comment here and there, which were positive, which was like, I thought a huge signal. Like they didn't
100%. Yeah.
they didn't tell us they hated it or that my hair sucked or like they didn't like your background. And then we started taking some of the old videos and we chopped them up with AI tools into clips, and we started uploading a short every day. And we're doing that now for a couple of weeks, and boom, look at that, 3,471 views. The views of our like source videos or the main show has gone way up. Like it's really exciting, right? And what I think is super important about this is that everybody wants to quit in that first 2 or 3 months. There's no feedback. There's no
Right.
signal. It's a grind. You're just shouting in the void. And this is everywhere. This was my experience, like building my Twitter following from zero. This was my experience with every social network, with like even on LinkedIn, right? And it's
Yep.
very uncomfortable, and you post stuff and you're like, I'm so embarrassed to put these cringy photos on LinkedIn, and there's no signal. So you have no idea if you're doing
Totally.
a good job or not. And that's when everyone quits, right? But the thing is, like, if you keep going, you almost inevitably will get more signal and you'll find an audience. This is not a big audience at all, right? But we finally have a signal that shows like, hey, there actually are people watching these.
Yeah. We figured out like a combination of things that we're now getting real feedback, which is awesome.
And so my message is for like founders, anyone who's creating anything, like not just a high-tech startup founder, but like if you're creating a newsletter, you're trying to get traction on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever you're doing, is you have to like stay the course and eventually find a way to break through. And it's just like really, really difficult. And I think way too many people quit too early.
That's very true. Wow.
Anything else you want to say about this?
Just keep doing things. Just keep trying things and keep doing things. I think that's a lot of people. That's what they need in their life.
Yeah, I you know, it's the other thing I'll say is that the other component that's really important, it's not only about staying the course. You do have to reach a certain volume and scale in order for it to work. So even being consistent, if you post once a week on Twitter, it's not enough. If you post one video a month on YouTube, it's not enough.
Right.
I think if you make a monthly newsletter, quarterly newsletter is definitely not enough, but monthly is probably not enough. You need enough signals out there to get feedback and to break through the noise. And I think this part's really important, because being dedicated to creating a great YouTube video every week, a great newsletter every week, posting great stuff on LinkedIn or Twitter every single day over a long period of time is very hard. And that's where people get fatigued, but that's what it takes. So it's not just you have to stay the course. You need to create the right volume required to break through. And that's what's hard, and that's what's a lot of work.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this. This is kind of related to a lot of the OpenAI news, but I thought this was kind of interesting. Mark Cuban says anyone can make a deep fake of him. So
Yeah, so like we have different opinions of Sora. Is that correct? I think Sora
what do you think?
I think Sora is great. It's it's the perfect challenger to traditional social media.
So I
Hey
will.
Sam, can I be in the Sora launch video?
Oh no, he already fell asleep.
That one was funny. So I have two minds with this. Like, one was like, I'm not convinced that going on to create fake content of me doing fake things and share it with fake people doing other fake things is interesting.
Right.
But that's my personal opinion, and there'll be a group of people who agree with me. Maybe it's a lot of people, maybe it's not a lot of people. But I heard something very interesting today. I was listening to the A16Z podcast with Ben Horowitz and Sam Altman. That I think just came out today or the other day. And Sam said something I thought was quite profound about deepfakes and about Sora and about all this stuff. And he said that like the world has to accept and understand and figure out how to live with deepfakes.
Right.
He's like,
Yeah.
this technology is coming. It doesn't matter if it's Sora or whoever is producing it,
Could be
and
anything.
that we need to solve. We need to just find a way to get comfortable with it. And I thought that was absolutely not just true, but like the right way to think about it. And so from that perspective, I got more excited about Sora because it does show the world that deepfakes are very easy to create, very lifelike, and are going to become a commonplace reality in 3 to 6 months. Like you've already got Mark Cuban saying like, hey, everyone make a deepfake of me. I put my likeness on there. I don't know if anyone made deepfakes of me, but you can. Because someone asked me about that. And I was like, my life's an open book for the most part. Like, go ahead, make me doing skateboard tricks or playing pranks on Sam. That'd be quite funny. I think it's cool. I think that stuff is fun. There's definitely a downside to it. We should talk more about that. But the world needs to adjust to the reality that deepfakes are here.
Correct. Like I think like there's a couple terms that we've thrown around. It's like post-truth, right?
Mm.
Like the internet, especially written words or the journalism, media, it's post-truth. This is like extension of it. And then the even more extension is like I believe internet will stop being this place where people go and get sources of truth
Mm. Tell me more.
as a whole. Like predominantly outside of social media, outside of Facebook, outside of Instagram, people still by and large go on internet to consume facts. I think that's even though that's how like internet started, which is sharing of knowledge. I don't think that's going to be the future of internet.
I mean, I think so. We've talked about it, and I agree with that. But I also think that like what you said about post-fact world is the uncomfortable reality
Correct. Yeah.
of where we are today. It started a few years ago, but like, look, if Sora is number one, like deepfakes are everywhere. Like I posted
Deepfakes
that
are correct.
I
Yeah.
posted that awesome one of Bob Ross like vibe coding or something. People are doing a bunch of really fun creative stuff with it. I like these like weird alternate history mashups and stuff. But like, how do we live in a world where there's like this hyper reality that is fake? I don't even know the implications of it. Like, I think they're really vast. We've talked about too that like it seems to me like some methodology for authentication of real content is something that has to happen like right away. And I believe I've always believed that was what blockchain was developed for. Like blockchain came from the future and foresaw the fact that deepfakes were going to emerge and that we needed some shared ledger in order to track and understand every digital asset on the planet, which I think is an NFT, and that we can like authenticate them. And I think that is the real world. I've always believed that was the real world use case for blockchain and NFTs. And I think we're in a place now where like,
Yeah.
should news companies and Twitter like create a consortium and build their own blockchain and then start authenticating stuff. So, if like it's on those systems, it's on those chains, it's authentic. And if it's not, everyone knows that like it at least can't be verified. Therefore, you assume it's fake.
Okay, so this basically goes exactly what I'm trying to challenge people to think about is like, what if we just not do that? What if for every single piece of
Okay.
content there's no authentication, right? Like it's impossible. Let's say that for whatever reason it's impossible. So every single piece of content could be faked. It's fake. It's unverifiable that if it's fake.
I mean, I think there'll be a world where this stuff just gets built into the cameras.
Sure.
And so that would be, I guess it's possible that someone could develop their own hardware and fake it, but it's very, very difficult.
Sure. So
And
now,
I think it's inevitable that something like that happens.
okay. So now you introduce another problem, right?
Okay.
The next problem in cybersecurity, actually, if you trace through like cybersecurity, all of this is talked about. So obfuscation now becomes the security risk. As in, yes, there's one piece of source of truth, but you have a million other slightly modified sources of the truth out there that nobody at the end of the day uh, is actually consuming the real version.
Well, okay, so true, but that's how we live today, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
people
Exactly.
can watch the same video
Right.
and have different interpretation, but like
That's how it actually is already, right? We're
right,
just
that's
taking it.
but like using a deep fake to fake my likeness so you can spoof a security camera is different. And in my vision of this product that doesn't exist, the NFT system would be built into that camera, and the camera would know that that's a deep fake versus the real thing because it can't
Yeah.
find the code of that deep fake on the blockchain.
Right. So, okay, yes. Some things you're going to need authentication authorization regardless, right? If you're trying to gain entry into the White House grounds, there needs to be some authentication and authorization,
Yeah,
right?
it could be across all content, right? Like, is this an official proclamation from the king,
Well,
from
well,
the White House, right? If you had a little code, you had a way to like authenticate it. Then they would
okay,
know.
so now that becomes the debating point, right? Like, at what point does that stop? Is it, like you said, built into every single camera? If you're sending a video through email, right?
Yeah.
Would the inbox just automatically reject or mark it as spam if it's not
Okay,
authenticated?
this is super. I thought a lot. I like maybe I even wrote something about this like a couple years ago. Like I envisioned what I thought the whole product would be.
Right.
So in my opinion, or the vision I have is like there's some consortium. It could be private, it could be quasi government, it could be public, it could be a group of people
Yeah.
who have a vested interest in this authentication, right? So the White House does, CNN does, I think Twitter does, I think New York Times does, I think The Economist. Anyway, so you've got like a group of people who like it's really important that they're able to like authenticate content, and so they pay and build this system.
Yeah.
And then other people can either, maybe it's open source, so maybe they build it into their tool, or maybe they don't, but other people opt in. But I think beyond that, a lot of other stuff just won't get authenticated because it's just not that important.
Sure. Okay.
Like
So the
our
only
podcast, like I wouldn't bother to authenticate it, and like maybe,
right.
dude, YouTube has a deepfake tool now, or some kind of AI generation tool built into YouTube. I just remembered because I logged in the other day to look at our analytics. And you could just vibe a bunch of YouTube videos based on your videos. So like
Yeah.
this stuff is like, this train is off the station with this stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So okay.
So I got off track. I got excited. I
No,
was
no,
like,
that's correct though, right? So now the next, like you said, the consortium problem, that scares the libertarians a little bit, right? Like because you have a centralized agency.
totally. Yeah, it's
That
weird. It's going to be really hard to deal with. Absolutely.
right. So like in on the internet, that kind of already happens. So they're called like certificate authorities, which are these
Yes.
like centralized. Microsoft is one, for example. There are open SSS, which is like SSL, which is like
Dude, check
certificate.
this out. Dude, here is the Vibe YouTube tool. I couldn't look at it. It's like taking our content and creating like ideas based on it. deepfake dilemma.
Yeah, we're getting here.
I was like, I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got super
that's
excited,
it.
and I found the tool. Like, have you heard anyone? I haven't heard anybody talk about it.
I've not heard anybody talk about this as well.
It's like develop idea. It's kind of, I got in here and I was like, this thing, I don't even know what to make of it, to be honest. Like they're like deep fake, and
it's basically like putting together an episode for us using algorithms.
yes,
And
yeah.
potentially they would like boost it because we followed their guideline.
Here, it's got all the different ideas.
Post titles.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, am I in a beta or something? Like I stumbled in this one day and I was like, what is going on?
So okay, so I don't think we've basically with AI we've solved the production problem. Okay, let's imagine that with AI.
I don't agree with that, but let's go
sure.
with that. The premise.
Yeah, because creativity and taste still matters, right? Like, of course. Let's say like with AI,
for people with taste.
That's right. We solved the content problem, the production problem for people with taste. Are people going to consume this? Like, do they want to watch this stuff?
Well, I mean, like the early generation. Okay. I know how to answer that. The Sora stuff was fun. I had a good time.
Right.
And I was having fun consuming it. I think there's 100% audience. I think right now I can envision young people. I can envision small kids thinking it's super fun. Like playing around mom and dad and like making goofy videos. I don't think teenagers will find it interesting at all. I think that like teenagers will see it as something that little kids use, and teenagers, like, they're out there trying to discover themselves and they want to be on Instagram. They want to try on different personality types and like, am I the sporty kid? Am I the nerdy kid? And I think Instagram has to be about like the real them. Maybe they'll augment it with AI perhaps.
Yeah.
And then I just don't know, adults, do they want to like play around with fake content? Maybe like I struggle with like, what's the B2B use case? Maybe something will get unlocked there and there'll be a cool way to make like B2B promotional videos with like,
I mean, video sales alerts?
I don't know. So that's my take right now on like where I think the chips are going to fall with like the Sora fake content style thing.
Right. So like these things are moving lockstep, right? Like the quality gets better, then people consume it more, right? And then it's kind of like this lockstep in the cycle.
100%.
I like it. I think it's gonna keep improving, and it's a little bit scary. I do believe that, like Sam Altman said, we just have to deal with it.
I couldn't agree more with that. That like he was completely correct. That like it's not the inevitability of technology, I think, is a really important point that most people seem to miss. Like the technology is just gonna occur. Even like nuclear proliferation happened. Like we were able to slow it, we're able to like monitor it, we're able to like contain it, but it happened.
Right.
And so even if you put every single resource you have on the planet into like protecting some technology, it's still going to evolve and it's still going to get adopted.
Yeah.
And I don't
think ideas will get adopted regardless.
Regardless. And I don't think this AI stuff is harder than a nuclear technology. So I think it'll get rapidly adopted, and AI fakes and all this stuff is just going to become a common day occurrence. And so how do we manage that and deal with that as a society? Like, I don't know, but we'll have to adapt, and we will. We're very adaptable. Like I think as unhappy and unfortunate I think COVID was, it showed that like society can adapt pretty quickly. And it wasn't great, but like we all did. And so we'll adapt to deepfakes and we'll figure out a way.
Correct.
So dude, should we end with this deepfake? Oh my God.
The Gregory and Paul Show. I just want to say the Gregory and Paul Show is one of the best live streams out there that covers SaaS and AI, because it's from the perspective of two dudes in the trenches making cool stuff. I just want to say,
Oh my
the
God,
Gregory and
dude.
Paul
You
Show
got his
is one of-
mannerism, like
That is-
everything spot on.
It's the greatest. I want to figure out a way that we just like introduce the show with that every time, where it's just Elon is like, hey, the Gregory and Paul Show is the greatest show about SaaS and AI because it's two dudes just making cool stuff. Like I love that one. But like, dude, it's so believable. I said this thing to my dad, and like my dad just thought like Elon was talking about our podcast. Like I can see from his perspective, like why would he even doubt it? Like it looks so real.
It looks like
He
him,
knows-
talks like him, moves like him. It
He
probably
knows him
is
off
him.
on the West Coast doing all this crazy stuff. Like, of course he's like, oh, congratulations. I'm like, Dad, it's a deep fake. He's like, what? Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, this stuff is just, I mean, from my perspective, like all the tools are out there now. Like I'm shocked I don't see more of it.
It's adoption. People are outside of our bubble. Nobody cares about this stuff currently.
Yeah, but it's gonna. So with this Sora thing, 1 million downloads. I would give it 6 months before all kinds of people figure that tool out and unlock it and start doing all kinds of like strange stuff.
Correct.
And there'll be some kind of like, I don't be so apocalyptic, but like 9/11 moment, like something bad is going to happen. Someone's going to create some kind of deepfake, and it's going to be very uncomfortable, like a war of the worlds. So the story of War of the Worlds, like during like Orson Welles, he did like a fake news broadcast over radio that said he was being invaded by aliens, and everyone believed it, right? It's
Yeah.
actually-
Oh, I see. I see.
It's kind of like the original deep fake.
Yeah, we talked
then
about
they-
this. Yeah.
We did talk about it, and they passed all kinds of laws, and like, you know, he was, I don't remember exactly what happened. I mean, he did go on to become like a famous director. He's really famous, right? But like the repercussions were very serious for what
Right.
for what he did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that moment is still going to happen.
It's starting
yeah.
to happen. So, like, there was a deepfake video of the CN Tower burning about a
Oh,
month
yeah.
back. People believed it. It was all over the news here. My parents sent the video to me, asking if I was all right. So that's starting.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to move beyond just you and I making big tech
CEO
fake.
say things. Correct.
deep fake prank videos. Yeah, it's going to move into the mainstream. All right. Anything else you want to say on the topic today?
I think we're good.
I think we're good. Oh, I wanted to just mention the event.
Yes, coming
Let me
up
bring
very
up-
soon.
Yeah, let me bring up the page, and I have some funny anecdotes about it. So like this event, I mean, it's really cool. I've got like over 40
How many people?
investors. Yeah. So there's people doing demos now. We've got 40 investors. We've got over 100 founders. It's going to be really cool. Like I'm really excited about this. So it's October 28th in San Francisco, but I have to move the venue again. So the original venue I booked months and months ago, like called me like rather like 2 weeks ago and was like, they're doing some construction or something, like they can't host it. I'm like, what? So I had to like find a new event. I luckily like scrambled. I found a new place that would do it. I signed the contract. And I get an email from them yesterday saying, sorry, we can't actually accommodate you at this location. We have to move at this location. So I got to call the new location today and just make sure that we're aligned on like the setup and everything. Yeah, events are hard. And I'm confident, like, well, I mean, we have a space, and so it's going to happen. But this one's been a bit stressful in securing space. So hey, if anyone's listening and they can help me, they maybe have a co-working space, or there's a lot of offices in San Francisco too that hold 50 to 100 people and would want to be a host for future events. That'd be really helpful after my experience trying to just use a private bar or venue to do this. So yeah, get in touch. Find me on LinkedIn or X, or send me an email. And yeah, if you could help, because I'd love to do these. I'd like to do it once a quarter. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that would be my goal.
If you have a really big house, we'll do house parties as well.
If you have a big house in San Francisco, yeah, like you have to be pretty rich. So
Accommodates 150 people.
exactly. Yeah, that's a big house. All right.
Sweet.